My name is Nathan Johnson, and I'm an attorney with the Ohio Environmental Council. Just in general, quick overview, what sort of legal structure are we looking at when we're talking about at least solid waste from the fracking industry? And when I say fracking, I do want to clear this up when I first start. Sometimes the industry will talk about fracking and use that word only in a very narrow context. And according to many in the industry, fracking is just a narrow point in time when you're injecting water under high pressures to break up the shale formations. When I talk about fracking, I use it in a broader sense. I'm talking about the entire operation, from the drilling, from the fracking, from waste recovery, that sort of thing. So I'm just talking about the overall operation. Okay, so House Bill 59, it was passed. It was a budget bill passed last summer in June. I think it became effective in September. I did a few very interesting things. Julie hit briefly on the different definitions of T-norm and how under the federal definition, essentially everything you bring up is considered T-norm because it's going to increase the potential for exposure to the public. And again, we're talking about radioactivity. The state legislature in House Bill 59 removed drill cuttings from the definition of T-norm. So stepped in and legislatively said, okay, drill cuttings, and those are the solid bits of rock that you're pulling out when you're doing your drilling. Those are no longer considered T-norm. That has a couple of ramifications. Well, one, it's no longer in line with the federal definition. Another issue is that the Department of Health is no longer required to basically require records be maintained to ensure tracking of the materials. And there's no requirement in place for appropriate testing of the radioactivity levels. And Julie could probably speak to this better than I, but essentially if it's norm, at least from ODNR's angle, there's essentially no requirements that it be tested for radioactivity levels. Even then, if you're looking at radium, which is probably going to be the primary radioactive element in these materials, you've got to go through a very specific scientific process. You've got to hold the materials for some 21 days before you can get an accurate picture of just how radioactive the material is. And there is no requirement that you go through that sort of rigorous process in the law. Another thing from House Bill 59, there was a section, it's in the revised code, which is just the book of essentially all of Ohio's laws. House Bill 59 went in and changed that a little bit, and it made it such that if you're going to recycle or treat brine or other waste substances, like drill cuttings is what we're talking about here primarily, you've got to have rules in place. You have to have the chief of the Division of Oil and Gas establish rules that govern the process, and then permits can be issued in accordance with those rules. Well, it's been several months since the rules, I misspoke, since the statute was voted on and since it became effective, and we have no rules. We literally are still waiting. Who knows? It may come out in a month, the draft form. It may not come out for 2 years. It may never come out. We don't know at this point. But either way, we currently have no rules that govern this process under ODNR, under this statute. So that's, I think anyone would agree, pretty concerning. No rules have been proposed thus far.